Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann, and I tell you what, I just got done taking a tour of a boat company. I'm not going to tell you what boat company it is, but I'm going to let Ryan, he's our special guest today, tell you all about it. Where are we at, Ryan?
We're in Flippin, Arkansas, and we are at the Vexus boat plant.
Yeah.
So you were kind enough to come through today and take a look at our aluminum and our fiberglass production and get a chance to walk through our facility, see some of our people and some of the processes that we've got going on right here. So a lot of exciting stuff, busy place right now too. We're kind of in the process right now getting everybody's boats built for spring, and tournaments are upon us. Crappie are biting, bass are biting, walleye are biting, the lakes are open up north. So a lot going on right now in our industry.
This is crazy. That's all I got to say. It's organized, and it's not even chaos, because you have like one worker does one thing and the next worker does the next thing, and it's just laid out. But tell us, you're in Flippin, Arkansas. Tell us first about the facility, because I happen to know that there's a little history, behind this facility.
There is. We were really fortunate. Good many of us used to work at Ranger Boats, and so when we kind of started this venture, when you have a facility or run a company for that long, that there are certain things that you wanted to incorporate if you ever got to start over, right? And so when you pull into our facility, there's a few things that you'll notice. We went crazy on windows because we want to be very transparent, obviously, and that's not only for the consumer, but it's also for the worker. Being able to see outside. Is it raining? Is it nice? Or so on and so forth. But I think our biggest thing that we really focus on is our team, and it's our people. And so we have a nice facility, but it's nice to attract really good help and retain really good help. And so I think we've got that. We've got about 185 employees that work here, and our team comes to work every single day trying to build a better boat than we did the day before. And I think that's something that's really neat. Our culture is such that you have to continually improve or you're standing still. And so we take that pretty seriously, because not only do we build these boats for enthusiasts, we're enthusiasts ourselves. Many guys that work out here on the line, myself included, we spend our Saturdays and our Sundays fishing tournaments or, chasing fish. So great team to work with, very driven, but also very focused on what the end consumer is doing as well. So
and so you have two line of boats here.
We do.
So you have the glass boats, and then you have the aluminum boats.
Yeah, so we're a very unique facility from the fact that we build not only aluminum and fiberglass, but the trailers that go underneath them, all underneath one roof. So there's obviously, from a communication standpoint, it's much easier. You can walk around in 5 minutes and see, the guys building glass, guys building aluminum, and the guys building trailers. So the synergies from that is the communication's a lot better. It's a more streamlined process. It's a lot more efficient. So that's something that's really nice. Is I spend very little time in this office here at my desk. I spend a lot of time out on the floor, because that's really where the rubber meets the road. The customers have questions, and who better to answer than the guys that are putting this stuff together every day. So
so let's start with the fiberglass boats. They start like. I would say they start from nothing, and they end up a boat. So how does that even happen?
Yeah, so we right now manufacture five models of fiberglass those boats, 3 in our DVX line and a VX20 and 21 in our bass line. And so with vacuum infusion and some of the new technologies that we've brought to this industry, or this sector, the bass boat industry and walleye industry, we've got some exciting technology that's a very worker-friendly environment. It's a repeatable process. It's a better quality boat when we get done. And so there's some exciting technology that happens here on every day that is fun for us, because, every day we're continually how to get better at that, how to get better, how to make it more efficient or how to make a better product, so on and so forth. And so that's really fun, because every day we kind of show up here and figure out, hey, what if we tried this? Hey, what if we tried that? And so not only from a product innovation side, but a manufacturing side, it's just all about continual improvement.
So you start at the beginning? You have
start
a hole.
at
Uh-huh.
the beginning. So we really start here really early in the morning, or we're going to gel coat a hole essentially, and from there it's a pretty cut and dry. Whether you're going to get a flaked boat or a painted boat. A painted boat, you're going to get a gel coated boat that we'll sand on and then paint a hard case paint color, whichever one you choose, which you can customize any automotive color for that matter. But on the flake side, we've got a two-tone deck option, and we've just got a straight flake option, obviously. And so we've got a series of flakes that we can spray in there. And then from there, we're going to use vacuum infusion, which is a really exciting process that essentially reinforces parts of the boat that need to be reinforced, but also takes some of the excess weight out of the hull that would inhibit performance. And so we do all that, get that done here by early lunchtime, essentially, and then we're going to let that boat sit in the mold all night, and then we're going to pull it the next morning and start it all over again. So an exciting process that not only vacuum infusion's used on that, but we're also, building the components, whether it be the consoles, whether it be the storage boxes, live well. There's a lot of components, fiberglass that goes inside these boats as well. And that's not only on the fiberglass line, also the aluminum line. Our AVX series, we've walked through there earlier today, happened in place back there on the fab side. So we've got 2 lines now that are building boats back there as well. And those boats are start out of a 6-ton roll of aluminum essentially, and by the end of the week, they're sitting there getting paint put on them. So exciting, fast stuff going there. And those boats are also getting fiberglass components in them. Whether it be the consoles, whether it be the recessed tray, the trailer ring, so on and so forth. It's just us adding that customization touch to an AVX product, and that same attention to detail that we have on the fiberglass side, we've introduced on the aluminum side. And that's really exciting for me because I think the customer can see that.
Right. So as it's going through the factory itself, there's a lot of things, but a lot of things kind of, I think they're trolleys up on top. So I think a lot of times I've gone to some plants where they're different. These are all like on trolleys. There's like no one that is lifting or doing anything that's real strenuous.
That's exactly right. So like what I was talking about earlier about, I don't want to say bad habits, but engineering out inefficiencies essentially. And so when our team started and designed this, we had an idea of the things that we wanted to change to make the manufacturing process more efficient. And one of those is overhead track system, for instance. Before there's very little boat dollies inside our facility. That track system, is accepted into our paint booth. So really from the time that these guys get these boats foamed, they're essentially on a track system that's going all the way through our plant until it goes on a dolly, obviously, for final assembly. But, whether it's the placement of our warehouse in the middle of our facility, there's a lot of little things that add up to a really big thing, essentially. And so it's those little details, whether it's in the manufacturing process or whether it's, the placement or where the tool storage is on a VX or, the angle of the rod tubes on the AVX 1980, so on and so forth. Those little details add up into really big synergies over time.
Right. And so once they get everything kind of laid out and then the hull's coming, it goes into this paint booth.
That's exactly right.
It's like a huge paint booth.
It's a big oven more than anything. So that we crank the temperature up on that to 170 degrees to harden and cure our paint inside there. And so our plant was really built around these 4 paint booths. And so we're excited that there's a lot of really neat quality that comes out of our paint process, not only on the aluminum side, but the fiberglass side as well. Service after the sale, being able to use that clear coat on the AVX side, that's going to make fixing scratch and dings, down the road a whole lot easier, having to, essentially sand and buff a very smaller area essentially than what you would be with a single stage or a powder coated.
And then really the process of what makes each boat, and the individual boat is like the next step where you go to the components that.
Correct. I think, if you look at our finish line and walk through our facility, you'll just see that every boat, we've got a boat here that we're rigging with, X engine with Y electronics. And, we try to be full service for our customers, from the fact that if you have an engine combination, electronic combination, we should be able to rig that for you. And we take a lot of pride in that. And, whether it's 12-inch units, on the bow and console that are getting Victor brackets, or if you've got something that you're wanting to put on it when it gets there, we'll pre-rig for that, so on and so forth. Right. So I think the thing that we really enjoy is that we were walking to the facility earlier, and there was a custom painted AVX that looked really sharp.
Yeah.
And we enjoy doing stuff like that. You know, if we have the ability to customize your boat, we're certainly going to do our best to do that. And so that's the fun part for me, is these aluminum boats continue to take a what I would call a futuristic look to them, not only with the stretch form gunnels and the fiberglass interior parts, but some of the paint combinations that we're doing today are really exciting. And it doesn't look like an aluminum boat when you walk up to the side of it.
Right. So I know the questions that I thought of is in the aluminum boat is inside the storage areas. And I know you kind of touched on it, but the inside storage areas are actually fiberglass?
That's correct. So the rear two storage, so on the back deck, the two drop-in storage boxes and the live well are all fiberglass. Now we're in aluminum boxes on the front three across there, but we've got for instance, this is how far aluminum boats have came. We've got an interior light package, and we've got a shock package that's very similar to our fiberglass boats. So when you open something, it stays open. And the other thing that's really neat about the aluminum is we've got a polyurea interior, which is a no carpet option, and then we've got a custom C-deck kit that can go down on the inside of it. So it's really exciting as to the customization that can happen on an AVX 1980 or 2080, all the way through the lineup, all the way down to a 181.
Normally and the air fishermen, when the boat's coming and you hear that plop, 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 coming down the lake, you know it's that dude that's got that aluminum boat, man, and he's getting beat up. Silly.
Our job when we first started this venture is I myself got to fish in an AVX for a couple of years, and I can't tell you how much of an eye-opening experience it was for me, because these boats, not only they're, if you're fishing in the spring or in the fall, on the trolling motor, being able to be so much agility going in and around docks, and how responsive and where you could put it, whether it's the back of a creek, whether it's getting into an oxbow or getting run over a stump flat, there's things and places that aluminum boats can take you that fiberglass can't, but they're not. For a long time, they weren't finished on the inside like a fiberglass boat does, and so that's kind of where we came in. Was we wanted to build them. We wanted to build them as close to a fiberglass boat as possible, and I think we've done that. I see more aluminum fishing boat high performance rigs at tournaments now than I did 5 years ago, and I think I think it's because aluminum boats are being manufactured and engineered now to be able to accept that environment, whereas before it kind of had a traditional John boat front to it. And it was like, hey, this is if you just fish on Sunday afternoon when it's nice. But our AVX is designed to deliver a very stable, comfortable ride all throughout your ownership. And I see a lot of people that are very serious tournament anglers that are fishing out of these, and I think it's great. I think for a high school, college fisherman, you're getting a boat that's got warranty on it with modern electronics and a modern trolling motor at a price that's very affordable. I think that's important for our sport, that there's a stepping stone to that.
And it's foam filled. That's the ticket, right?
It is. That's a huge difference. The fuel tank being underneath the seat and everything being foam filled makes a huge difference as far in the overall ride for us. And then finishing out, whether it's compression locks, flush mounted electronics, really nice upholstery, different interior options, whether it's a coin box third seat or just an open place for more storage. So I think that's the really exciting part that I like, is that these things don't look the same every day. Somebody's got a different color combination, somebody's putting two graphs here at the console or dual stack on the bow. It's always something different now.
So talk about the hull itself. When a person's driving down the lake, they're going to feel that difference. They're feeling that difference because of what? So
we have a pad performance hull, and that does a couple different things. It's going to allow the boat to get up and lift more, essentially. So you're able to get the nose up to where you're not taking that abuse. But also with our stretch form gunnels, we're getting a little bit more dead rise farther forward. And I think you'll notice that not only is it going to make your ride drier, but it's also going to make it more comfortable. And I think that's something that we're really excited about, is the first time that you got in these boats and went out and what I would consider some very serious chop, it was like, wow, this is, I don't have to put my mouthpiece in when I'm doing this. This is a very comfortable ride. And so that's something where the whole characteristics is where it starts, what you put inside it with the foam and how you finish it out, whether it be the interior components or the paint process itself, is just a complete package that makes our AVX, I believe, in its own category when it comes to a high performance aluminum boat.
And the transom.
Yeah.
The transom is like this, and to understand this is it's being made by a person.
Yes.
Like it's not being made by a machine or
Nope.
any of that. It's
Yep.
a person that's doing that, the interior and the transom.
All of our constructions and our finish welds are done by hand. There's no robotics involved with this. It's all done by hand. And so we've got a great group of guys on the fab side that are very talented and come to work every day and get after it. And, you were over there on that side for a little bit.
There was welding everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot going on back there. Those guys get after it. So, no, it's an impressive part of our facility because, there's always constant movement. But with aluminum, it's really exciting because, there's some days that they may build 5 of one model and then 4 of the next. So those guys, they're really versatile on what they can do on a daily basis. And I think that shows through.
Right. How many boats are you able to kick out of this plant?
Not enough right now, to be honest with you. Not enough right now. But no, I think a lot of people ask that, and what I'll tell you is this: I don't know that we have any aspirations to be the biggest.
Right.
That we want to be the best at what we build, and we're going to work really hard to do that. So we meet daily as a team on what we need to be doing better is feedback from the customer, feedback from our dealers, feedback from our employees on what we think we can do to streamline this stuff. And so that's probably our biggest focus right now is continuing to improve every single day, continuing to make sure that when somebody spends their very hard-earned money on our product, that they're getting everything that they asked for and more. And so we meet daily on that to make sure that we're meeting those goals.
And I happen to know my neighbor just bought a boat, and he ran out there and got a Vexus, and so we've been riding around in it, and the driving performance of the aluminum boat, he has the 1910, I believe.
Yep, 1980.
And so the steering and the performance is like it jumps out of the hole, and the performance of steering is really tack sharp. And so he's been taking it through the ringer and doing everything that he can. But he's doing more bass fishing, but we have to touch on because you have a couple crappie models.
We do.
And I know some of our listeners, they're really crappie fishermen. They want to know what you got for them. What do you have special?
Yeah, so we've got an AVX 189C, and we've got an AVX 189, and we've got an AVX 181. And those are 18-foot boats, 18.1 on the 181, and the 189, 189C a little bit bigger. But what I'll talk to you about the 189C, something that I think that has been missing for a while, is we've got 3 across seating up there.
Yep.
We've got the option for a recessed trolling motor if you want it. If not, you can switch it back and forth with whoever's spider rigging up there. But on the front live well, it actually opens from the front. And so if you're using live bait, or if that's where you're putting your catch for the day, there is no more leaning over, pulling it back towards you. So really trying to cut down on the wasted movement inside the boat. On the step going up to that, we've got huge storage. We've got storage on the back deck that's drop-in fiberglass storage, fiberglass live well. All this is coming on a pad performance hull that's kind of across the board with all of our AVX series. So that's something that we see, especially with live scope right now, and, kind of how that's changed things. Crappie fishing is continuing to grow, and that's a segment that we very much want to be a part of. And so, we have an AVX 189C right now that comes rigged with a 115 on it. That's a great boat, a lot of great value, and it seems it's growing in popularity every single year as we're building more and more crappie boats.
So getting input from bass anglers, crappie anglers, walleye anglers, that's the ticket, isn't it?
I've came back from more boat shows, from more open houses, from more tournaments with ideas than we've ever spawned in a think tank group inside our company, because ultimately the people that buy our boats are enthusiasts. 30 out of the north doesn't scare our customer from not going to the lake. And so that's something that we've always taken a lot of pride in. The guys that use our product are using it day in and day out, regardless of the conditions. And what a great way to get ideas. What a great way to refine things, that we kind of have our own engineers out there in the field, essentially. So we take that very seriously. I go to boat shows or open houses or weigh-ins. Again, we get ideas from that, and so it's always fun to come back on Monday morning and see what everybody else are. Because even ourselves, we use this product on the weekends, and we've always got things that we're wanting to change. Like, man, I'd love for it to be this, or man, I'd love to have 2 more gallons in this one, or whether it's a tool storage or the ability to put a 7-Eleven cranking or flipping stick on one side. So that's where those ideas come from ultimately.
Don't let him catch you. He can catch fish. Like, he can catch
fish.
Very,
I get lucky every now and then. So
if he has to go somewhere, I'm sure it's kicking and screaming during the spring when those fish are up spawning and you're ready to go catch them. But,
it's fun. We've got a team here that spends a lot of their time on the weekends chasing fish, and that's what makes it fun. If you don't do so good on Saturday, you'll hear about it on Monday morning because these guys out here can catch them. So.
And we have to thank our sponsor, PICO Lures. They've been around forever and ever, and they have a full line of top waters. They got the crankbaits, of course, that crappie fishermen love, and everything square bills, some deep divers. Make sure you check them out at picolures.com. This week we also have the Mr. Crappie. Once we're going with the scissors because I wanted to show our scissors off because they cut braid, and so these are the Mr. Crappie. They're basically just a pair of scissors, but they're a pair of scissors you're going to love because they cut braid, they cut mono, they'll cut anything that you need inside there. And they're really easy to find because they're yellow.
Yeah, I was going to say we're having trouble finding that inside the boat.
Hey, if someone wants to take a tour, can they take a tour of your factory?
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you guys. If you'd like to come to our facility, give us a day heads up. Just give us a call and say, hey, I'd love to come to your facility. If you're a great distance away and coming and touring the facility isn't feasible, be sure to check out our website, vexusboats.com. We've got a multitude of YouTube videos, walkthroughs, heart and soul videos. It just really kind of explains our story, explains what we're about, and explains our product. And so we spend a lot of time making sure that if you can't make it here to Flippin, Arkansas, that you've got the tools you need to make an informed decision on your next purchase.
There you go. There you have it. Well, another show, I would say, and this is a great show because we got to see some background, so that's always good. Anyway, make sure you check out our channel, the Fishing Guide Podcast. Subscribe to our show, and make sure you always keep your hooks sharp and your lures in the water.